The 56-day miracle. Wow, 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 wow. The 56 days miracle. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Oriire Schoolchildren rescued alive in Oyo. A collective sigh of relief has swept across the entire nation today. President Bola Tinubu and Governor Seyi Makinde have officially confirmed the successful rescue of the children and school teachers abducted from the Oriire community in Ogbomosho, Oyo State. The victims, who had been held in dense forest camps for an agonizing 56 days following the horrifying May 15 mass abductions, were safely extracted through a massive round-the-clock joint operation coordinated by the military, the DSS, and the police. Governor Makinde has already visited the traumatized victims at the military hospital, pledging total rehabilitation, while former defense spokesman are hailing the extraction as a major validation of federal security machinery. SharpEdge Nation, this is the ultimate news we have all been praying for. For nearly 2 months, the parents of these children lived in a waking nightmare while teachers went on strike across the state, while we celebrate this miraculous tactical victory by our troops. The streets are asking heavy questions about the length of time it took. How did heavily armed bandits successfully hide dozens of citizens inside southwest forests for almost 2 months? And does this rescue mark a permanent lockdown of the border corridors, or just a temporary relief for frontline communities? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back, sir. So it's been like 2 weeks. We're coming back, so we're coming back stronger. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. Good to be back, and thanks for doing this with me on a weekly basis. And our appreciation to thousands of our admirers and viewers the world over. It's always a good feeling to connect with you and to allow into the privacy of your homes and devices. Thank you indeed.
Yes, sir. So, what's your take on this news? Is this to be celebrated, or because they're asking questions? Why did it take so long, right? To be frank with you, this is the first time I'm actually paying attention to this type of success story. Sadly, the man, the vice president, lost his life, right? But what's your take on this, sir?
I do not understand which vice president lost his life.
Not the vice principal, rather. The one that got beheaded.
Yes. Now, first to the question whether it's good news or a good feeling. Totally so. I feel totally elated, and I know the feeling of relief, like the news copy you read. It said it in a very concise way, like our motto at SharpEdgeNewsTV.com. It's a feeling of relief, totally worthy of everyone's celebration. And if Nigeria could sustain this kind of tempo, if Nigeria as a security hierarchy could sustain this kind of story of success, what a feeling we will have, that total liberation, freedom, like we used to have in the country. Nigeria is a place that, yes, where we used to feel good that, the news of the news and rumor of the wars and what have you, of the dimensions you only find in the scriptures, used to happen in distant places, would never ever happen in Nigeria. That used to be the feeling. If anybody is going to be talking of make a place I mean, great again. Indeed, it will be in Nigeria, not in the way of bringing back slavery or what's it called, tribal domination or racial segregation. Separate, equal but separate, and all those kind of feelings. Not that kind of pyrrhic past greatness. Real greatness that you could feel that the land used to be free at independence after overcoming pre-colonial kidnappings and burning of villages and kidnappings and selling people into slavery in diaspora places. Now that we have freedom within and amongst us, we thought we could manage better until some people got indoctrinated through some foreign belief systems, and then they felt like they could turn, brothers could turn against brothers. Now that this has been done with a worthy degree of success, we think that is what should be sustained. But we cannot be celebrating the victory recorded concerning the victims of kidnapping and terrorism in Oriire, Agis of Ogbomoso in Oyo State, without also asking that when is it going to be the turn of kidnapped victims in places like Borno State, in say a place like Kwara State, some places in Kogi. When would this feeling of victory be total? When is it going to envelope the entire Nigerian landscape, such that we won't hear of this kind of violations of our space anymore, or the violation of personal safety of Nigerian citizens anymore? So what I would say in this instance is that yes, we celebrate this, but let it continue unabated, unhindered. We want success all the way, and we need people with the sharp mind, tongue of the equivalent of Winston Churchill at this time, that can tell Nigerians that if the military are given the tools, they can finish the job. That they are up to it, and that Nigerians will fight on every front and will never surrender to the instinct and to the whims and caprice of these ill-informed and twisted individuals that are using the excuse of religion to perpetuate evil. And we would need the sharp pen of somebody that could ride in the wisdom of old-time journalists, that would be able to inspire, even when the will of our military people could be waning, that will wake them up to the danger of the danger at hand, the victory that is around the corner, and that it is always darkest before the dawn of any new day, that we can do this all the way. But it's a victory that cannot be over politicized, whether by the governor of Oyo State or by the handlers of the federal structure in Nigeria, because they are almost tearing the victims apart as to who did this and who did that. And then common folks in Ogbomoso area there, like I had a woman that was saying, oh, the fact that they've been able to deliver this, they've been able to deliver on this, getting the victims successfully out of captivity, everybody should come out. If anybody does not vote for whoever during the next election, then such a person will be like, okay, has it come down to this? So everybody is using the development to advantage, whether negatively or positively, is what history will be waiting to make a pronouncement on. But as it is now, like you asked me, total feeling of relief. And this is worthy of Nigerians. This is worthy of our men and women in uniform, the security system all over the country, and then the leaderships in the various villages and towns. And some more lessons have to be drawn. Initial reports and investigation are showing that some elements within the community actually uh, got this going. They, out of greed, the greed factor, underline the greed factor, became an immediate impetus for for inviting the terrorists over and then endangering lives and properties the way we have seen before our very eyes. For example, the mathematics teacher, the vice principal that you mentioned, allegedly got killed because of recognition. He was able to recognize, according to what report said. I don't have that first time, but from what I have been able to make out of the whole thing so far, they said he was able to recognize some of the connivers, some of the people involved in the sad incident of kidnapping, and then to make sure that the information doesn't get out. He was beheaded in a very gruesome and gory fashion. Now, I've always said, and like I said, that I've even shared with you, if I today decide not to be in my bad place in Nigeria, it's not because of anything. I love that place, but that information, the piece of information that some people are actively getting involved because of certain personal considerations to trade information, get me kidnapped. If ransom is paid, just make sure kill him, because if he comes out, it's going to go after each and every one of you with the force of law. That same thing must have played out in the case of the teacher that was killed in such a tragic manner. Nobody ought to have been treated like that. And what we are even saying here is that crime does not pay, because the trail would always be there, because there's no perfect crime. There's no perfect crime anywhere. There is no book that teaches that, oh, something will not find you out. Even the best of criminals, mafiosos, people operating for the mob, people running people out of town, compromising systems, using judges and crooked lawyers to get their way. Ultimately, the will of justice comes round, and the crime would always find them out. And this is what has played out here. So whether that teacher was killed or not, I mean, the story is out today. This is what the pattern that was established. And could this be similar to what has been playing out in other places where this kind of criminality or breaches have been happening all over Nigeria, and indeed all over Africa and all over the world? Some wise moments for all of us. Let us learn. Let us gather some wisdom and understand that we cannot profit on the blood, tears, sorrow of fellow human beings and think that something will not give in at some point. So beyond the poetry or the prose of how this was done, the arithmetic of it, the mathematics of it is that crime does not pay. And the scale would always steal. And honestly, retribution would always come. We will now continue to look beyond the political drama around this rescue, around this liberation for the victims. We would want to see far-reaching steps at rehabilitating them concerning their state of mind, mitigating the trauma they have suffered, and then making sure that everyone that is connected with this is brought to justice in a speedy fashion. My initial feeling about what has happened in Oyo State, like you asked me, Ola. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So do me a favor, sir. Your tie is going to your right-hand side. Put it to the center. The whole thing, straighten it down to the ground. So
Thank you.
yeah, just move it to the center to be straightened. No, it's perfect that way, but at the bottom, there you go.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back as usual. So do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. The fee hike backtrack. Tinubu suspends proposed WAEC and NECO review. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, and join the conversations in the comment section. The federal government has officially dropped the hammer on its own controversial policy today, following a fierce nationwide uproar and a blistering public condemnation from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. The Federal Ministry of Education has announced the immediate suspension of the proposed review of WAEC and NECO registration fees. Atiku had publicly blasted the administration's plan to institute uniform 50,000 naira fees, calling Nigeria not a laboratory for reckless policy experiments that price poor children out of basic education. Standing directly under the political heat, the government backed down today, halting the 2027 fee hike plans. Sharp Edge Nation, this is the massive tactical withdrawal from Aso Rock. It proves that despite the ruling party's overwhelming legislative supermajority, the administration remains highly sensitive to the public anger and opposition messaging as election season draws close. Is this suspension a genuine act of empathy for struggling families dealing with inflation, or is it a calculated political retreat because the APC realized that taxing the education of ordinary children would completely destroy their campaign talking points for next year? The Sharp Edge is yours, sir. Let's have it.
Thank you so much. I won't characterize this as a kind of a political retreat. Rather, let me call it a form of pandering. Understanding that Nigerians, are you hearing me? Understanding that Nigerians have.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
All right. So, understanding that Nigerians have taken so much beat, a lot of hard political policy pronouncements and actions that really had eaten into the very existence, the existential issues of our day in Nigeria. They got no choice. But let us also comment that the opposition is finding its voice, like you rightly pointed out, that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who currently happens to be the standard bearer for one of the leading political parties in Nigeria, the African Democratic Congress (ADC). It shows that opposition is trying to play a qualitative alternative to the government of the day. However, no matter how hard they try, maybe you should understand that before we came into the studio a few hours ago, there came a pronouncement from a court of appeal in Nigeria, almost delegitimizing the Atiku ADC platform again, saying that whatever the David Mark-led faction of that political party has done in terms of state primaries and what have you, should be discountenanced. So it's an ongoing battle to make sure that whether there is quality resistance and fact-checking and calling or flagging the administration on some of its core policies that could be coming from the opposition side, the government may be determined to ram through whatever they have predetermined to do with the destiny of Nigerians. Now, coming back to the issue of West African Examination Council fees in that country, tell me, the excitement that used to attend the prospect of any child or any candidate, because really too, I do not want to join the chorus of those who would perpetually treat Nigerian youth as children that have to be breastfed even up to post university days. They lobby for them to have a place, where to write West African Examination Council, GSS1, placement after primary school leaving certificate examination. They lobby to get them places in the university. They get them to, they lobby to get them postings during NYSC. And after that, they still lobby and lobby and lobby and lobby, such that the youths are not given the opportunity of really standing out as graduates, as people that are well formed. That is the same mentality that is going into government trying to play politics with them. Who helps a child in our days? When I first wrote West African examination in 19 whatever, just to be precise, in 1986, the military had just seized just seized the leadership of the country 2 years before, and when it got to our turn to write WAEC, nobody was going to stand in the gap for us. The military administration of the day did not. They did not spare us that pain. Our parents had to do whatever they had to pay our way through. I'm not saying parents should not be relieved of the burden of this. No, I have that thing in my heart that says that whatever assistance can be given to the greatest majority of Nigerians, barring the shamelessness of people who can afford all these things at times, who know that they are comfortable and yet they still put the responsibility to the state to help them out in taking care of their children. That's not the way it works. The assistance that must come must go to the weakest of the citizens within the system. But that aside, bringing this up, you introduce a policy, you just want to test the waters, you want to test the citizens because of politics, and then you give this semblance of, oh, we are a listening government, let us tone this down. But you know intentionally that that's not what you desired originally. You know what you want to achieve. Just playing politics with the mind of the people, the mind, what I call mind craft or mind game. That's not right. Don't send mixed feelings when you are in leadership. Let people know where you are. Are you somebody that is worthy or that is capable of showing empathy? If you are not, then do not pretend. Honestly, the current government in Nigeria and elsewhere in the world have done so much that you would be questioning whether we are alive or we are dead or we live in another world. People no longer have this feeling that, they are providing leadership over real human beings, people are not that humane anymore. So, kudos to Atiku Abubakar, but I don't want to be part of his politics. I do not want to be, because you never can tell if tomorrow he's able to grab that power and he runs with it like Tinubu once said. You never can tell, you never can predict what he will do. I mean, we saw some of Atiku's antecedents when he was vice president of Nigeria. The privatization policy of that government was superintended by him. I'm not condemning him for whatever he chose to do then or not. What I am just saying is that you never can, can swear on behalf of any of these characters that they would lead trying to give succor to the citizens, because they don't even, on the best of them, seem to have their own minds. The dictation, the whole thing, there is always that paper that somebody must have predetermined elsewhere. Say, for instance, the Brentwood institutions, the troika of World Bank, IMF, and the International Financial Corporation, IFC, in Washington, D.C. It's almost like putting the gun to the head of whoever is leading anywhere in the developing countries of the world. It's either you do it this way. Things they don't even try with their own citizens, they will dictate to them, do it this way or whatever. And that is what I call the sustenance of what I would call a commodification of human life, such like you used to have during the days of slavery and neocolonial. We can call this the critical phase of neocolonialism. And this thing flows towards one direction, not getting a feedback. Even when people are in pain, they are telling you, oh, the government of Africa or Nigeria is doing very well. The majority of the people are dying under the yoke of the economic dictum of these institutions, the bitter pills recommended to people of Africa, yet they are not letting go. They just, not even a chance for the poor in Africa to breathe. They hold them by the jugular, and that is what they are. Inconsiderate leaders, that is what they administer on the people. So, yeah, pull back on WAEC 50,000 naira fee. Did they intend it that way originally? Isn't just a way of playing on the mind and playing the citizens? I mean, they can continue doing all these things. Someday, the game too may end up playing these politicians. Just saying, I think that day will come in Nigeria, that the people would really have their leaders on their side. But as it is today, I think they just playing the citizens around. And it's also a shame to want to do that with the helpless and troubled minds of the youth of the country. And that is what you find a government introduces loan policy concerning university or tertiary education system. They hail it as if, oh, this is some form of kumbaya. It is it is now life in paradise. Of course, how can evil that is postponed, paying back on every debt, how can it be a good policy? Instead of introducing grants, instead of introducing competitive scholarships, instead of making education affordability, something that is done across the board, they rather feed their greed, their corruption, their fraudulent lifestyle, and then they make it look like they have done something for the citizens that is worthy of being celebrated. I don't get it most times when they think this way. I think the entire thing that is available to the country should be put on the table, then authoritatively allocated. That is what is called government that has direction. Not when an individual steals 100 billion naira, an individual steals 1 trillion, and then you leave the crumb for the people to fight over, and then you think you claim you are doing them some good. Some good, my foot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the chat. Kò sọ́gbọ́n tó lè dá, kò sí what. It's okay. I think we're all going to be all right, but I hear you sharply on that. The reality is that people don't change unless it represents relief, pain, or pleasure. And right now, I don't think Nigerian leadership is incentivized to change. So it is. So I hear you completely, and I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the chat. I would like you to get your thoughts on that one. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, the spiritual mandate. The spiritual mandate, Bishop Oyedepo orders Living Faith members to get PVCs. A massive spiritual shockwave has hit the 2027 electoral landscape directly from the pulpit during yesterday's Sunday service at the Faith Tabernacle in Ota, Ogun State. Living Faith Church founder Bishop David Oyedepo issued a powerful charge to his global congregation, ordering all members to immediately secure their permanent voters card, PVCs, reminding them of their civil duty as bona fide citizens represented across 144 nations. The bishop strictly maintained a position of political neutrality, refusing to name any specific candidate or party, and instead urging members to vote purely by personal conviction. This neutral, high-impact message has drawn widespread praise across the country, heavily contrasting with the highly partisan stances of other religious leaders as Nigerians' voter registration drive accelerates. So, when a religious leader with millions of disciplined followers tells his church to go out and get their PVCs without telling them who to vote for, the entire political system sits up, hopefully. We know that voter apathy has historically kept millions of believers away from the booth. Will this massive non-partisan spiritual mandate trigger an unprecedented surge in registration that completely disrupts the plans of the major party godfathers? Or will the raw machinery of traditional politics still drown out the voice of personal conviction by 2027? I'm particularly interested in this, in your analysis of this, because Nigeria is probably the number one most spiritual nation in the world. Probably is the keyword, but I can bet my monthly livelihood on it, right? So I want to hear your take on this. Is this good news? Is this bad news? Is this just business as usual? Now, I think they said something about historically Nigerian youth, I mean, more and more people are coming out, but are we expecting a wave now, considering that also that we're in a social media era and, little by little, people are saying, social media president, they're saying it less by the year. It used to be like 6 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. It was like that social media president is not going anywhere. But I think the politicians are scared of social media now. What's your analysis of this? Is this good news, sir?
Yeah. As you're asking and giving the synopsis to this segment, I was thinking deeply and on what to say and what not to say, but we will say everything and spare nothing. Yeah, it's good news that Reverend Oyedepo or Bishop or Archbishop Oyedepo. I also know that in some enlightened circles in Nigeria, as journalists, we are cynical about everything from everything. And I've been around some of my influential colleagues, especially some very senior journalists in Nigeria, and the way they always address Bishop Oyedepo, has always been like calling him Papa. And honestly, if I continue to, at the risk of standing up, I will restrain myself from mentioning some of the people that have been around who would eagerly personalize their relationship with Bishop Oyedepo. That is doing this on the side of the Nigerian critical mass is good. However, doing it also in a way that is radically different from what he was accused of doing. Maybe people said through AI, whatever, during the 2023 presidential run, is really a matter of relief. But whatever he did then, he did as a patriotic Nigerian, feeling, and from what we know so far, that there could be some positive alternatives, radical alternatives to what the ruling government, the ruling party had to offer. Now, let me also tell you that he is not alone in whatever must have been going on. You see, if there is anywhere in the world where Christians have refused to embrace political correctness in place of speaking truth to power, Nigeria is one such place. And I was listening to Bishop Stephen Adenioni of Ondo Anglican Diocese, Ondo Diocese. He preached at the valedictory synod session of the outgoing Archbishop Simeon Borokini of Ondo Episcopal province, you know, and Bishop Borokini happens to also be the Bishop of Akure Diocese. So Bishop Oni was preaching at his final synod at St. David's Cathedral in Akure yesterday, and that thing also came in because you watch successions of Anglican primacy in Nigeria, whether you're talking of Jasper Akinola or you're talking of Abiodun Adetiloye, or you're talking of so many of them, you find that tradition of liberation theology amongst Nigerians, Catholics, everywhere in Nigeria. When in this America, people tell me, oh, they want me to be judgmental about Catholics. I said my experience coming from Nigeria is different from your own issues in America. I don't want to be involved in that at all. I grew up knowing Catholics to be capable of all the things that were embraced by the reformers of the church. Say Martin Luther, you know, the experience of Romans chapter 8, the righteous justified by faith. You know, so when they now tell me in America, oh, you must hate Catholic or you must embrace Anglican, I said no. I know Christians to be one fold where I'm coming from. When terrorists come after Catholic churches, they don't spare Anglicans, they don't spare Methodists, they don't spare ECWA, they don't spare anybody. And that is why you find the consciousness of what the church is saying today being reflected in the pronouncement made by Bishop David Oyedepo, saying people should get their personal voter's card. Make sure they speak out through their vote. However, I think there is something that is burning into the heart of everybody at this moment, which is franchise commodification in Nigeria, the selling of votes. If you suddenly heard that the balance is not reflected, there is certain deficit in budgeting, as explained by the new minister in charge of finance in Nigeria, Taiwo Oyedele, who must be very careful not to destroy his hard-earned reputation, trying to defend the indefensible. You're talking of 8.8 trillion that is not captured anywhere, that cannot be traced by IMF in Nigerian books. And then you give some funny rationalization to why that is not happening. That money must be hiding somewhere to finance the campaign of the incumbent administration to get back to office in 2027. And some people are already warning us that if we are not careful, the constitution of Nigeria will be tinkered with, and then there could be a third-term agenda by, say, 2031. Tell me, no matter the level of conscientization going on, no matter the level of mobilization going on, no matter the charge coming from well-respected pulpits, churches, from the what's it called, minarets of mosques anywhere in Nigeria, if the administration is intended, it's really intent on bending everything to its own whims and caprices, and the people want to participate in the system, how do we get the system to work in the interest of the people? I know Bishop Oyedepo wants Nigerians to own their democracy. But the government is doing everything possible to make sure that they own it more than the real primary custodians of the system. If you look at what Thomas Jefferson paraphrased and compressed into the introduction to the American Constitution in 1776, coming from people who have been, who have been political philosophers before his own time. You know, say like the man who espoused the theory of social contract. That was what you find in where Thomas Jefferson used his skillful writing skills to craft it with the people. Elsewhere, talking of the self-evident fact of everybody being created equal, although jokingly, the humor of that time was on the fact that they never extended that opportunity to slaves that they kept in millions. I think about 400,000 black slaves in America in 1776. They were not extended the privilege, they were not granted the joy, the privilege, the hope of that self-evident thing that they said that all of us were created equal with certain inalienable rights. And that is what we find that is playing out in Nigeria today. The church is trying, the different religious organizations are pushing to make sure that Nigerian citizens get involved, produce credible alternatives, credible leadership. That is why it is not an accident that the people are no longer incentivized. They don't get so excited to want to say, I want to go out and vote. How did we get to that pass? It's about the commodification of the voting rights of the people, which is what I describe as the franchise commodification. It's almost like using that process to put people in perpetual subjugation, in servitude, in slavery status. They want to really vote and embrace and approach their leaders, but the leaders push them, after. At the eve of election, they roll out missing money from the system. Look at the one they were trying to investigate Pope Uzodimma about as the chairman or the whatever of so-called the Progressive Governors Forum, over 800 billion, shed off on each state's allocation every month. What has come of that honest inquiry? It's not going anywhere. So you can say, get your PVC, do this, but when that money that has been taken from the system, when it appears, do you think the vote of any individual Nigerian will count upon that occasion? Some food for thought here. People have always been excited, especially the Gen Zs, Nigerian youths, whether they spoke through NSAS protests, whether they said, oh, end the bad governance, whether they are saying revolution now, whether they are saying authentic change, whatever they are looking for. The state has always shown up using hard-beating soldiers and policemen to deprive the people of owning the ballot, of expressing themselves through voting rights. And then you are wondering that out of a population that is over 90 million that should ordinarily vote, you said Nigeria, they have always estimated Nigeria as a population, which I said that is grossly exaggerated to be around 230 million to 250 million, whichever figure they want to embrace. Nigerians are not that much. But they put those figures there in order to steal on behalf of the overblown population figure. At the end of the day, you go to the polling booths. Out of estimated population of 230 million people, you don't even find up to 40 million people voting. What kind of population or demographic justification is that? So we will continue to encourage the bishops, the clergy, all of them, and also active members of the laity, to speak up, to make sure that Nigeria belongs to all Nigerians. But with those who are determined to keep Nigeria down, to make sure Nigeria does not smell that air of real liberation and freedom, would they allow for it? That is what we all must ponder about as we approach that moment that Bishop David Oyedepo is talking about our voters' card. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Join the conversation in the comment section. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notification. And yep, we have some other stuff we want to talk about. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me ask you, sir, first of all, pardon my manners, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into our final segment. We've had the hard news. Now, let's get a sharper edge on the conversations around the world. Joining us on our dialogue is the man himself, our publisher, editor-in-chief, and I-Chief, Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. Always good to be back, like I said before. And I appreciate that you do this with me every week. And then appreciation and gratitude to the people out there who have found it so convenient to have us in the privacy of their devices and their homes.
Right.
We do not take this for granted. We appreciate you indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll do a quick shout out to Esther Lavargas. Says hello in the chat. I want to play this video for you, sir. All right. Did you pay attention to all the trend around Olodo uprising in the last 2 weeks? Did you come across the trend Olodo uprising?
Well, let me confess the truth, because of some personal tragedy within our family and all that. It's hard for me to focus. I mean, the passing of Monique, my niece, your cousin, and somebody you grew up with, which I mean that you knew very well. So yeah.
Yes. Rest in peace to Moni. So so what Olodo uprising is a prominent Nigerian cultural and social media debate, right? In Yoruba, Olodo means a dullard or someone uneducated.
Zero scorer. Yeah, okay. Somebody that perpetually scores zero.
So the term refers to the phenomenon where social media influencers, streamers, anybody with a microphone, content creators can achieve massive fame and wealth by prioritizing viral entertainment and performative ignorance over traditional academic achievement or intellectual depth. So there's this video I'm gonna play for you, and then we can talk about it. I really want to hear your take on this because I know me and you, we kind of push against each other over the years, over probably the better part of last decade, on the direction of media. But I'm gonna play this video and then we'll take it from there. Okay?
Now that JAMB cutoff mark has been reduced,
they've reduced it again
to 150.
In my time, somebody got 230. They not get me admission.
You understand? In my time, I think I got 284 or thereabout. So imagine you and I just want to hear you.
Okay, so so everything that YC said is true.
Yeah.
But in our world, it's like that video that I get did at Alex Okubo's burial that you people are making this about. In our society, because of how bad our society is, we like to talk about the symptoms and not the virus.
So for context, before I continue that, right? What YC is a rapper who triggered the conversation nationwide on a podcast called The Afropolitan, right? And he basically is lamenting about Nigerian society heavily rewarding ignorance and anti-intellectualism, right? If that's a word, anti-intellectualism. Hey, Jesus. And brain rot, basically brain rot content over formal education. So he quoted a real life example. Is a young man called Pella, who is now famous for just like, if you listen to him for
yes,
30.
I know Pella. I know Pella on TikTok. Yes.
Okay.
On TikTok.
Right. So Pella is a little better now, but the way he actually blew up, if you listen to him for 30 seconds, you will literally have headache.
Basically about sense and nonsense.
So that's what sparked up the conversation, and that's what this young man is talking about. Let's listen on.
Virus. Do you know the greatest Olodo uprising and not the virus?
I'm
Do you
backing
know
up a little bit.
Because of how bad our society is, we like to talk about the symptoms and not the virus. Do you know the greatest Olodo uprising that we've experienced in this country?
I want to know.
Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. I'm not disrespecting him. I cannot insult him. He's old enough to be my father. I worked in his campaign team. Agreeing to be vice president to the late Muhammadu Buhari. And they're coming out in public to say this was what he said. That after 4 years in office, that Buhari is poorer now than he was before he became president. See, I've seen Olodo uprising in a lot of ways. That one is the highest of the highest.
I didn't even see that.
That's one. Let me tell you another one. Because sometimes we want to bring Pella. We want to bring a Fekata. You see, in Nigeria, we fight.
Yes,
we always do that. We always take out our anger on the weak. This Olodo uprising thing was a deliberate act by the ruling class.
All right, let me stop there. I really want to get your raw take on this, sir. I'm not going to feed it.
Let me tell you that I agree totally. I agree totally with the submission of this individual that question why somebody that is highly cerebral, like former vice president.
His name is sports journalist Edafe Matthew. That's
right.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with him that an highly accomplished world-class scholar like Yemi Oshibanjo would agree to the vice president of Muhammadu Buhari, and look at how his genuine academic attainment, his genuine professional accomplishment. Look at how all that was rubbish by the cabal around Muhammadu Buhari, because nobody expected him to come and give some superlative performance. They just wanted the old club, eat money, just pack all the money and leave Nigeria and Nigerians to rot. But when Oshibanjo stepped out to say, oh no, let us go this way and all that, by way of ideology and deep philosophical content to the administration, he was frustrated. I would take that. And then some youths talking of the lowering of academic standard, the was cut-off point to get into any Nigerian university. Yes, I would say that as many Nigerians as possible should be allowed the opportunity of having admissions into the universities. The one that I would even love to be addressed more is this artificial dichotomy between what's it called, the rating of polytechnic graduates and university graduates, and then colleges of education all over Nigeria. You see the way anything goes into recruiting people into departments of education, colleges of education, and making it look as if aspiring to be a teacher. You know, people who model all kinds of professionals within the system, that you must be a pushover or failure or drag of the society. I love that to be addressed. I love that disparity, that discrimination often pushed against polytechnic graduates, which, and that doesn't happen elsewhere in the world, only in Nigeria. In Nigeria, I mean, in America here, you could get to an establishment and find out that an high school diploma holder, high school graduate, is your manager. Nobody says the system must implode or crash. You just want to contribute your very best to the making of the system. If it cannot work in Nigeria, but already it's working, it's about who you know that gets you to where you want to get in Nigeria. After all of them doing this Olodo training that you're talking of now, were they not there when somebody came out with the song, Any More Way, No More Way? Where were they? And by the way, yes, I guess it'll be stopped, like I was saying, that the Nigerian university product, university graduate, NYC, whatever, it's never, all these ones, they say they are teaching their skills at NYC. I just laugh. All these people that would not let their children out to learn on the street, to be themselves, to pursue their whatever they wish in their heart, to the best of their ability and to the highest level they want to get into. I continue to wonder, particularly Nigerian elites, who would stake money, who would bend the system, who would sit in for their children, even when they are writing critical university examinations. I wonder, what would people like us have done in life? I attended a village school, proudly so, because I'm not a pushover compared with anybody in the world. I listened to one misguided person the other day, recorded a message on my system. Oh, your IQ is less than 5% and all that. Yeah, this person was struggling to do a simple write-up at the time. I was the one who assisted the individual to do it. Flawless. And when this person was running into difficulty to decipher my handwriting because of my visual challenge and all that, this person would turn around and say, oh, with PhD, I'm nobody because according to her, I made third class. But I'm looking at this person's endless struggle to make it through JAMB to the university, which the person never really achieved. When I wrote JAMB, and you were there, I mean, you were around me in those days during my personal struggles. I couldn't bend the rule, and I would never have bent any rule anyway. I scored 229 writing JAMB the year I did. Do you know that with my 229, I was not admitted for law at Ogun State University? That had created a kind of discriminatory standard between what the non-indigenous, for non-indigenous, it should be 235 to get into law faculty in Ogun State University, 1989. For indigenous of Ogun State, it was 228. There was nothing I did not try to do to get it. So the moment I looked, it was a mere waste of time. I just took a form, change of university and a course, and I got on the top of the list for political science in Ado-Ekiti that year. Later, I changed to English. The point I'm making is that some of these things we are doing to our system. In 1989, I couldn't get into the university with a high score of 229. A village boy. Nobody to influence anything for me. And then look at what elites their parents go to any length, loot Nigerian treasury to get them everything, thinking that is the only thing they would, need in life to get by. Yet, today they have to tinker with the cut-off marks. It's so ridiculous that you would hear that the cut-off now is 150, 160, 140 to get into a university. It was not that bad way back then. I think the minimum cut-off you could get for any course in Nigeria then would be 200. But today, it's so lower. So, if this is trending, it should have trended before now. But now that we're talking about it, I think we all get it, and we should sit up to fix Nigeria. What is destroying the whole thing, as espoused by people like Harold Lasky of London School of Economics years before about the affluent, it is the competing taste and appetite of the affluent world. Everything must be by them, and they are destroying the existential basics of the world that we live in. That is that. So, another talk.
Thank you so much for that. We're like 1 minute over time. But I thought it would be interesting for you to chime in. That was like about 2 weeks ago when that was trending, and we missed last week.
That's all right. Honestly, since the time of the Obasanjo ticket was really of quality. The process that brought Umaru Yar'Adua to office as president, but balancing it
right
between Dr.
Would you say the problem is trickling up and down from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top? Would you say the problem we're describing here is at every layer of the society?
Oh yeah, it's a systemic issue. Problem.
Issue. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. So these are the things you find them. People basic nitwits, parading PhDs that they can hardly defend in Nigeria.
Even here, sir, we have the same issue here. Anybody can just stage an academy online and start issuing certificate for PhD. And particularly among black people, even in America, we're seeing people flaunt the title doctor.
Let me also tell you, yes, the chain of titles people put Reverend, Right Reverend Doctor, even in churches. I was listening to somebody being referred to as His Grace Most Reverend Doctor, or this one. The great man around us. We were the great man around us. The late Canon Jide Fagbemi was being interviewed, and people were saying, "Oh, you have just been given an honorary PhD by Futa and all that," and they were going to stop it. And it does not happen elsewhere in the world other than in Nigeria. With the kind of brain with the kind of organizational brain that man had, being able to run a multi-billion-dollar business empire and what have you. Yet, he never went beyond standard 6 in terms of education. He said the day he find his calling in life. This is somebody who was using the standard 6 in a JJ fashion, simply to say, to earn a salary of 1.6 every month as a school teacher. And then he went to Oyedepo market to do cocoa purchase, one market a day, and made a profit of over £5. He said he found his calling there that no, it is no longer about waiting for a whole 1 month to make 1.6, and then now just Oyedepo market one day made a profit of £5. His calling was to be a cocoa merchant, and he went for that. And then somebody will now tell me today, he has PhD, he has this, he has that. And then we want to buy, when they want to be boastful, they talk of Escalade, Cadillac Escalade, not Escalade anymore. And you see the alloy rim on that vehicle can lead to the bankruptcy of most of the buoyant banks all over the world. Loud music, that is the way the black intelligentsia, the way we destroy ourselves.
So sad. That's so sad.
If you embrace simple life, you are seen as a failure. I've told people I do not have to. I don't even have any apologies for choosing
the simple
for
life.
choosing to be simple.
To moderate, to be
people that have always been around me, they know what I stand for. You can come, and that's why I was going to say that the Bishop Oyedepo thing, in some areas in the past, he missed it, embracing prosperity, preaching and what have you. But if, as an old man, now he knows better, and I'm expecting him to sell off some of those private jets, like Jesus told the rich young ruler in those days, and use that money for the interest of the poor and common folks in Nigeria. Then that is message that they should get PVC and what would drive home effectively. But to continue to live in the midst of affluence, while the vast majority of our people contend with abject poverty and penury, if not destitution, honestly, it would look like preaching to the choir, and it will not have any traction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I want to end with this. There was a conversation I was in the middle when we jumped on, right? And we're talking about submission in marriage, and there's something I told those folks, right? I said, too much reading can be bad. You see, this Olodo uprising thing can show up in different ways, right? And it can show up in multiple dimensions. So, in this case, we're talking about maybe a lot of this will need to read, right? But we just give the example of even Professor Yemi Oshibajo, and that Olodo uprising also showed up in that way, right? But just the idea of getting out there and creating value is the example you just gave with late Canon Fagboegun, right? Just simple, as in like you solved a problem for a person or a group of persons, and then you become valuable in society, as opposed to the fluffy emptiness of Titus. Just get out there. You read all these books, but you don't. All you know is theory, but you don't get out there and put it to work to actually serve another human being. How useless!
Very useless. And again, I always tell people, instead of going through what society is prescribing, how about the experience that you have lived experientially? You would be able to understand whether submission is easy or not, if it's demanded or commanded.
Right.
So all these things, too much is about having to choke yourself with too much stuff, prescriptions. This is what is said by the good book, and this is what is not said by the good book. In the final analysis, standard the word embraces, which is normative, which is what I would describe as social expectation. It's always not a don't do. Sometimes when I'm called to as the chairman of occasion at wedding stuff, I tell them, if I tell you this is the way you must do it to be able to successfully land in marriage, I'm deceiving you.
It might not be applicable.
You see, for me, when I went into marriage, I wanted all the good things about it. I love, and you know me, I love children, I love home, I am extremely romantic. But hey, when these people come, it could just be a mere situation of why are you always on the phone with networks of these Christian groups? Don't you sleep? I mean, now only you get wahala for this world.
That's part of the society breakdown right there. You just held Bishop Oyedepo accountable in that respect too.
Sure. For example, I know of people that were talking of a faith healing by Dr. David Oyedepo in those days.
Yeah.
Same Dr. David Oyedepo, I've been here and people call me, we see him, he's consulting with a medical doctor in New York. We see his wife,
easily.
And yet these people, they are pushing it down your throat.
I think his wife is a cancer survivor too.
Yeah. You say what?
I think his wife is a cancer survivor. I read it somewhere.
Yes, I think so. But I was aware of a time when basically she had to be brought into the United States and taken back on a stretcher for years. But indeed, when you combine informed medical practices and science with God, they do not cancel themselves out. I've been telling people who will come, I would have died because of a very bad form of cancer. I mean, few months back, which you are aware of. But by the grace of the same God and input of medicine and science, I'm alive today.
Yeah.
So what else would anybody expect less of me than to say that you must give, even as you embrace your faith, as a personal thing, not something you push on people's face and say, you
must come with value. Everything you have to say or cook is useless if it has no value. And when I say value, I'm not talking about in the eyes of God. You cannot serve God without serving humans. And that's not right. A competition between humans and God.
And for example, like if God comes down, and if we must believe everything we have been told by the Bible, and of course for you and I, we got no choice other than to believe that God is spirit. Those who worship him,
spirit, yes.
That those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Yes.
For example, if God comes down, they say spirit. Are you going to be able to stand him?
Yes.
And then the Bible says elsewhere that nobody has seen God. But people would casually tell you today, hello daddy, this and that, he's talking to me and all that. I'm saying, cut the crap. Who are you trying to play? Who are you trying to fool? The word is fully established, no new addition, no subtraction. Forever, God's word is settled in heaven.
It's settled, absolutely.
And irreducible,
100%.
There is no new truth, just that the revelation comes every minute, every second, every hour, every day.
Yes, sir.
I'll
give you the last word, sir. I have a special message for Nigerians. God is not an alien on planet Pluto, Nigerians. Okay? He's not. He's spirit. And even the word he might be wrong. H-E. But let's not get too deep, okay? The point is that bring some value. Okay. Yes.
If we continue, we won't leave today.
Nigeria will not be fixed until we understand the word value. It will not be fixed. We'll just be doing fluff for fluff. What Bishop Oyedepo was preaching in the 90s might have been valuable then, but value is not stagnant. It has to also evolve with the times, particularly with respect to the problem that we have to solve today. So, and that's not a shot at him, just saying this is for the average Nigerian in generally. For the average Nigerian, we need to understand the word value. Just get out there, find somebody you can solve a problem for, and eventually that becomes the government. Until then, it's going to be business as usual.
Well, thank you.
All right.
So, my last word on that is that the word submission, whether in marriage or at workplace or what, it is so sweet to throw around. But you live through the process, you would be put to the test. And then you will understand whether it can be demanded of you or is something you want to give willingly. But the word submission in itself is always very scary when I hear it. It suggests to me that you want to place somebody in servitude, you want somebody to be your slave. If that is not what you are driving at, my friend, can you, whether you are dealing with your spouse or your associates, whatever, can you really relate to people as co-equals? God bless us.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the day. We went a little bit over time, 15 minutes. I think it's worth it. If you think it's worth it, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.